Life is hard sometimes. It's really hard. In fact, I want to tell you a story about one night I was driving home from teaching at university here in Thailand. And as I stopped at this corner, there was a lady that sort of approached my car, but she was a bit disoriented. She appeared to be pregnant. I can't even remember all the details now. It happened a long time ago. And she asked me something. I rolled down my window and she said something to me. And she was speaking, of course, in Thai. And I was trying to understand what she was saying. And then eventually I could kind of figure out that she needed a ride. She was asking me for a ride. So I said, sure, where do you want to go? And she says, I want to go to this hospital or whatever. And so I said, get in. And then I asked her, okay, which direction? And then she kind of guided me. She was very nice, guided me the direction to go. And then we drove around and around in a bit of circles. And then eventually, really, I realized that she was just completely lost. And in fact, she seemed to be overwhelmed. And, eventually she's like, okay, just let me off here. And she got out and kind of walked away. And again, she just appeared mentally lost at the moment. But as I left her, I drove home and I thought to myself, there's just times in life. It may not have been the case in her life at that time. I was trying to figure out, but I don't think I really understood exactly what she wanted. But I thought there's times in our lives where we are overwhelmed. And you're going to face it yourself. You're going to meet other people where the weight on their shoulders is more than they can handle. And when that happens, basically, we have to ask for help. And when you ask for help, and when I've asked for help in my life, people have stepped up. Great friends, family, people who care, and even strangers who didn't necessarily know me or have a stake in it. They were either working in a job when I was, for instance, in rehab or something like that, that they were trying to help. And what I would say is that sometimes life gets really hard. And when life gets really hard and the weight on your shoulders is really heavy, my advice for you is to reach out for help because people can and will help. And I want you to remember when you come across someone who's facing a really tough time, stop, listen, help. That help that you give them at that moment in time may be just enough to keep them going through their darkest hour. You may never see them again, and they may never see you again, and they may not even remember who you are. But you can keep it in your heart that you are willing and open to help people when they're in their darkest hour. And that's what I learned from a lady that walked up to my car on the street in Bangkok, Thailand.